Welcome to this webinar at the launch of Think Factory Security, Peace and Public Policy Initiatives. In brief, SAPI. SAPI is a forum to deliberate, research and disseminate knowledge on issues of concern in the areas of security, peace and public policy. For details, visit us at www.securityandpolicyinitiatives.com.
Afternoon and a very warm welcome to everyone who's here today. Welcome to the inaugural webinar of Security and Policy Initiatives, also something that we call SAPI. SAPI is a think factory and a forum designed to tackle the pressing issues of the rather understated areas of border management and transfer of technology in defense sector. This initiative was founded by Shri Pradeep Gupta, who served as the PS to Bharat Ratna late Shri Pranab Mukherjee sir, former President of India. He has also served as the Joint Secretary for Home Affairs in the Border Management Unit, and also served as the OSD in Department of Defense Production for indigenization. At the same time, he has also served at the OFB units for a very long time, working on artillery as well as shells. For this work, he also received the Santu Swani Award in 1999-2000 year for the development of 155 artillery shells. And he is really the creator of this initiative. But along with him, there are a few co-founders who I would like to introduce. There is Dr. Sangeeta Goyal, who has served as a senior bureaucrat in the departments of health, in the Department of Information and Broadcasting, as well as the Department of Defense Production. Along with that, she has a PhD and a master's in policy and management from Carnegie Mellon University, and has various publications as well as international honors to her name. Along with that, there is me, who's a co-founder, who is a former senior scientist from the University of Toronto. And over there, my research focus was on wearable computing, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence. We also have Mr. Alok Tiwari, who is an expert in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and blockchain, who serves as the CEO of AI World Artificial Intelligence Company. We will be working towards the presentation by Mr. Pradeep Gupta on security and policy initiatives. Followed by that, we will have a keynote speech on transfer of technology by Dr. Shivthanu Pillai, followed by a keynote speech on border management by Shri Arvind Gupta, and finally a guest of honor speech by Shri Shekhar. I welcome you all to this introductory webinar, and we are truly delighted to see such an esteemed panel of speakers as well as such an esteemed panel of dignitaries here as attendees today. We would request you to type in your questions in the chat box or raise your hands, because we will be having a question answer session right after the guest of honor speech. I will now request Pradeep Gupta sir, founder of SAPI, to present the idea of SAPI.
Thank you, Sarang, for introducing all of us. At the outset, I welcome Shri Shekhar Dutt, ex-governor Chattisgarh. He had been our defense secretary and secretary defense production, as well as deputy NSA, and he needs no introduction in the security and defense field. He's a well-known person. We have amongst us Dr. Shivthanu Pillai, whom I commonly address as father of BrahMos missile, the showpiece of Indian defense manufacturing. And he had been distinguished scientist also of DRDO and Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri awardee. We have amongst us Shri Arvind Gupta, a renowned strategic affairs expert. He's director of the Vivekananda International Foundation, and had been deputy NSA as well as ex DG IDSA. We have distinguished veterans of the armed forces We have distinguished former senior police officers. We have professors from academia. I welcome all of them. The present and former corporate heads, experts, participants from the industry, and the ex-senior officers from the OFB and the present officers of OFB, members of the bureaucracy, past and present, friends from media, and experts and participants who have joined from US, UK, and some other countries. You must be wondering, what is this Think Factory about? This word you must not have commonly heard. So I'll just take a few seconds to explain the background of the Think Factory, that today's knowledge landscape is changing very fast. We have deepening of knowledge everywhere, we see specialization increasing, cross-application of knowledge happening across the domain. All this is due to technological advances happening, basically AI, ML applications and other new age technologies. Besides that, the perspectives are also maturing and going to other domains from one domain. So that's why we see new subjects coming up. So this has created knowledge gaps of and the information gap amongst the in the existing ecosystem vis-a-vis what is happening outside. Existing ecosystem, we say inside government and outside government too. So it's a big challenge to bridge this gap. And what we see is that we need specific insights into the issues of relevance and specialized policy inputs to fill this void. And Think Factory, working as a knowledge production center, it will be a knowledge production center, is a solution to these problems. So we'll be aiming to strengthen the existing system by way of specialized input, be it inside or outside the government. Next. Next. Yeah. Now the idea of Think Factory SAPI, how it came. It's a brainchild of a few individuals who had core competencies, and their observations at various levels in the work life. That is right from the strategic level to macro level to micro level. We found certain disjunctions in the process. So then we realized that there are two areas which are quite understudied and not focused. That one is the issue of transfer of technology, and the other is border management. So these areas we term as understudied. So it will be our endeavor to create some fertile ground for cross-pollination of ideas, because there is no dearth of knowledge available, but then we have to channelize that thing. So this platform idea came, and we'll be also going for some research-based inputs. And how will we do it is that we'll be sensitizing and facilitating stakeholders for absorption of knowledge gained from the TOT. A lot of knowledge is gained from the TOT, and then creating local capabilities. Though you see it is in one line we are stating, but it's a very complex process. So we'll be doing it through the Think Factory itself. And also we'll be facilitating development of comprehensive framework and approach for the improved and effective border management. So our objective is to bring all stakeholders together to synergize their efforts and deliver some value to the society. Next. The mission and vision of SAPI, as we have conceived, is that SAPI mission will be to sensitize and facilitate the stakeholders in developing ideas towards feasible solutions in these two broad areas just now. And our vision for the platform is that we want to be a pulsating interactive platform for synergizing the best practices, expertise, experience, knowledge, and technology, and achieving success for the country and delivering value to the society. Now, SAPI founders already, Sarang has told about us. So we go to the next slide. It is all there. Our mention will not be complete if I don't state about the friends, philosophers, and guide in our journey to this date of today. First and foremost, the Bharat Ratna ex-president of India, late Pranab Mukherjee, who encouraged and supported us in setting up this Think Factory, and he continues to be beacon light. We are also have been encouraged by Shri Shekhar, Dr. Shiv Thanu Pillai, Shri Arvind Gupta, Professor Bimal Roy, and Shri Rungta, the ex-chairman of SAIL. All these people have very closely connected with me, and they have encouraged me with this idea whenever I personally discuss with them. Then Colonel Kevin D'Souza retired. He's done pioneering work on TOT, and Vivek Shukla, journalist. They have both helped us forming up ideas and coming up through this and advise us through. Plus, there are a lot of friends, colleagues who kept our morale high in thick and thin of working towards this process. Next. I would like to mention about the stakeholders who we'll be addressing is just depicted here in an infograph. So you can just see that who are the type of stakeholders we'll be focusing on. Next. This is now, I'll be briefly touching on the transfer of technology and border amendment, but more on how the SAPI will deliver value as well as what we will be doing, because we have two doyens, one of transfer technology, Dr. Pillai, and a border management, Shri Arvind Gupta. They'll be telling about the subject and the core issues. In TOT, I have just depicted, if you see left-hand triangle is that how the TOT, who are the stakeholders. Besides that, the weapon acquisition process, you see there are four options: TOT-based manufacturing, R&D-based manufacturing, outright purchase, and leasing. So I'm focusing on TOT-based manufacturing. Rest always are there options. Next. Regarding TOT, my first question to ourselves is that we bought TOTs from the OEM. And once the TOT is bought, when the upgraded weapon is to be taken, we again go for that importation. So the question obviously comes to our mind is that why this is so when we have bought the TOT, because no TOT is free of cost. It's all cost and investment. And somebody has spent the money, either the government or the outside the government. So as the TOT process has happened largely because I have seen all the other organizations in the country involved in defense production, that it's a one-way traffic and from the OEMs with some handholding. So OEMs give us the technology, and while we are at the receiving end, and we do not look beyond TOT, and thus obviously build to print technology transfer is there, but then we have to look beyond that also. So we focus on documented part. There is a lot of things which are undocumented, what experts call tacit knowledge, which is often out of radar. And also we, in the process of reading the documentation and the documented process, establishing production lines, we often do not internalize and assimilate the knowledge gained from the TOT. And that is because there are no processes to monitor that. And SAPI will highlight this with the stakeholders and sensitize them and suggest them ways to make best use of that. Next. How we'll do one glimpse, I'll just share with you that we'll be vying for the creating repository of TOT. I have not seen any repository of TOT anywhere. We'll be also vying for evolving index of TOT absorption, systems to monitor and the TOTs and the utilization, tracking these TOTs. This is one aspect what we'll be trying to do, and leveraging TOT for a comprehensive system design for the improved version of the weapon, if not the new weapon. Here, I'll take a few seconds to tell you that I'm placing comprehensive weapons design different to indigenization of specific component or part of the weapon. I'll just share with you that I was OSD DDP in 2018 when I came up with the indigenization policy of the DDP, which is there on the website. But then indigenizing each and every component will not take you anywhere, as because once all the components have been indigenized, what is the next step in the roadmap? We do not have the idea that how to integrate, because if the next level is to be made, again we have to go for importation. So that process certainly gives us some knowledge, and no knowledge is bad. We must try to have knowledge, but then we must also parallelly focus on having the comprehensive system design knowledge. Otherwise, we'll not be able to do much in the process. Where I'll be focusing on going for a comprehensive system design and integrating the knowledge gained from the TOTs with the innovation, lateral thinking, and new age technologies. Until as that happens, we cannot take the knowledge gained from the TOTs to the next level. So indigenization will give you knowledge, but then that is not going to take you to some next level. It's at that very level, whatever knowledge is to be gained is gained. But how to take it to the next level is very important. So that is where I'm focusing and trying to, the SAPI will do. I'll just share with you the example of Bell helicopters. Few years ago, Bell Helicopters took up the task of designing a new helicopter, and they utilized the virtual reality tool to freeze the design of the new helicopter in 1/4 the time what they usually take. It's about 8 years to try and design a helicopter, which they did 2 years, and at a fraction of the cost. So this is where the idea what we see that using new technologies come. And of course, we'll be telling about the human traits of building synergy, motivation, inquisitiveness, which is very essential for the SAPI which is very essential for the organizations to focus on the TOT absorption and then taking it to the next level. Next slide was about the border management, wherein we have listed out the just played a depiction of the stakeholders and the physical features. If you see the border, there are various stakeholders and physical features are ranging from densely populated regions to desert to mountains. And the stakeholders, of course, there are several: border guarding forces, armed forces, police, etc., etc. So this is where we see the large number of stakeholders in the border management. And if you see the border management concept, it came post-Kargil on the recommendation of the group of ministers sometime in 2001, but then Department of Border Management was created formally in 2004. And since then, we have been pursuing this task of border management. And there is far more to the concept of border management than the physical security of the borders. Border management is a coordination of the concerted actions of all the stakeholders. It's not simply policing or making secure. We have been doing this basically about the border management. And there is, if you see the border management task, there are several challenges because the physical features are obviously there. We have social features also, and combined with multiple stakeholders. Social features emanate from the people residing at the border. I'll just like to highlight that the strategy for border management or the approach to the border management has to be continuously evolving. So that is because it has to be in sync with the changing environment, bilateral relations, as well as geopolitical situations. I'll just mention that 15, 20 years ago, we had different relations with Bangladesh. Our Indo-Bangladesh border had a different strategy that to be dealt with. And today we have very friendly, close relationships. So we have different strategy. So we cannot adopt that same thing. So the approach of border management has to continuously change. And it necessitates that we have mutually supportive approach to the challenges, means all the stakeholders, what I described earlier, that various members like police, army, etc. So they have to have supportive approach. SAPI will play the role here by educating the stakeholders and creating awareness in this aspect. Next. Now, I'll just explain the SAPI USP, that what we are going to do and how we are going to do it. We have tried to project it, whatever we have seen the other such bodies, and then try to deliver some unique things. We have created this interactive platform, presently virtual, and also in short time we will be going in a digital, physical meetings, etc. as the COVID sites reduces. We'll be coming up with the idea, roadmap, solutions, etc. in the two niche areas of TOT and the border management. Through the conducting webinars, all these things, roundtable discussion, blog, research, and publication. And we have a special feature on our portal is that of problem and solution, that stakeholders can share their problems, and SAPI will garner solutions to these problems from experts and stakeholders. We'll be inviting suggestions for the topic of the webinar too. And obviously we are not for profit and independent forum and neutral entity. Next. Is the next the mechanism of the SAPI. Here I'll take a minute to explain that all the founders have seen that in their experience that the policies issued, pronouncements made at the top level are very good. No policy is bad because it's done in the best wisdom of the government. But when it goes down, some policies make impact, but most of the policies are not of that level. So why this is so? We found that at the micro level, actionable action is missing. So there is a gap between the intent and the outcome. This is what we conceive that we must fulfill this gap. And here we'll be trying to translate the macro or strategic level pronouncement to micro level action points. We'll be helping the stakeholders inside government and outside government too. So how we'll do, it's obviously we have stated that SAPI will be a virtual forum where the stakeholders can bring their problems, and we'll be searching for solutions. We'll be doing expert sourcing. There is a lot of experts are available in the domain, and we'll be tapping them, requesting them to come on board and suggest us some solutions. Of course, crowdsourcing of ideas we'll do, and we'll be conducting developing approach, and insights we'll be also developing, coming up with the generalized as well as customized solution. And the last is very, very important. As today, our country has embarked on making India as a defense production hub, and it was the objective of several decades, but it has received impetus recently. But then how will we do? Because having engineering skill is one thing. There are a lot of engineers available, but the military grade production, my experience and our insights into the processes is that my interaction with all the DPSUs and the OFB and in working for a long time in Defense Ministry is that we have to have some mindset and thought process besides concern for the rigidity, rigorous checks and the precision in the military equipments and the components. That is placing the military production engineer, what we call, I have started calling defense technologies, different to automobile engineer or to any other engineer. Though if you see the defense production machinery is quite common to, when there are a lot of things, plant and machinery common to automobile sector. But then any automobile engineer coming to precision defense manufacturing will require a lot of training, and he has to reshape his thoughts. So it's here that the SAPI will take the lead and educate the stakeholders and industry, and it will be a privilege to interact and sensitize the stakeholders and others also in this. Next. And our this is a journey which we have just begun. It's I call it a baby step, and it's just a new thought we have put in minds of all concerned here and the outside people, that we have to work in this direction. And shortly we'll be conducting webinar. I'll be writing blogs, and we'll be requesting other participants and the stakeholders to also contribute through blog. And we'll be coming up with some research-based findings also and a solution to the specific problems. So in the long run, I'm sure that the SAPI will grow and serve the stakeholders in the niche area of TOT, BOM. And in due course, when it is realized that more areas are to be pursued on the same format, we'll certainly take up those areas too and deliver value to the society. Thank you for patiently listening to us, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for a very informative session about the nitty-gritties of transfer of technology and border management in India, and what SAPI aims to do to fill the various gaps that have been identified through various stakeholder interactions.